Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH The Flame Emperor episode number 190 based on novel. So let's start. It seems that our Funxiang Pavilion has produced an amazing character this time. Looking at the sky, Yang Kai couldn't help but speak out. Looking at the sky, he was able to resist the earth-profound thunder, which was the most troublesome for alchemists in the past. Fen Tian had a deep understanding of Di Xian Lei's domineering. The two old guys in the pharmacy often dragged him over to help resist, so Fen Tian knew very well how tyrannical this pill was. This guy, maybe even more perverted than the disciple you accepted before. And I don't know where the confidence comes from. I always feel that this guy will recover all the places we lost before in this sect competition. Yang Kai continued. The elixir of the second-grade Emperor rank peak. Earth-profound thunder. But I don't think his puppet is vegetarian. I'm afraid that puppet alone can easily deal with the powerhouses in the middle stage of the 7-star Do Emperor. Fen Tian smiled at Yang Kai. We have deep grievances with the Xianling royal family. Every time the sect competes, many of our Funxiang Pavilion's disciples have fallen into their hands. This kind of vengeance must be repaid. A murderous intent suddenly appeared in Fen Tian's pupils. The competition in the sect was originally a fight with anger. Going inside, life and death are all up to you, so. Yang Kai looked at Fen Tian and remembered some sad things, and hurriedly comforted him. I know. However, every time the Xianling royal family competes in the sects, they are responsible for hunting our disciples of Funxiang Pavilion. This time, I hope that this guy Xiao Yan will avenge us well. Fen Tian said. For the sect competition, although the rewards are extremely generous, in the life and death battle, every sect competition will lose some outstanding disciples. However, there are so many super sects in Shentian-san. Why are they the Burning Incense Pavilion? The number of disciples who die every year is the most, and the culprit is the Xianling royal family. This is that guy Xiao Yang. Outside the pharmacy, Leng Fuyao was sitting here listlessly, obviously not knowing what to think. But the next moment, when the beautiful eyes saw the black Dan Lei in the sky, he suddenly opened his mouth. As a pharmacist, she knew very well what level of medicinal pills would trigger them, and looking at the signs, the medicinal pills Xiao Yang refined this time were actually as high as the second rank of the Emperor. Moreover, it is still the pinnacle of the second-grade Emperor rank. You must know that before meeting Xiao Yang, Leng Fuyao was quite confident in his refining skills and soul power, but after meeting Xiao Yang, his pride seemed to be hit. This guy, what a pervert. Not only has the cultivation of Do Qi made rapid progress, but even the refining skills of medicine are far superior to those of his peers. And the most irritating thing, Dan Lei, which was the most troublesome for our pharmacists in the past, turned into a great supplement for tempering puppets in his hands. No, I have to do my best, I must not be thrown too far by this guy. Leng Fuyao clenched his fists, then ran directly into the pill room and began to practice. At the same time, Xiao Yang was standing in the sky. The dazzling black earth profound thunder was like a burst of deadly rain, leaning straight towards the golden demon puppet. Every time the black earth profound lightning emerging from the thundercloud hits the golden demon puppet, it will make the golden lines on the golden demon club's body appear even brighter. Xiao Yang didn't know where the golden pattern came from. The only thing he knew was that this golden demon was transformed by his uncle, the Golden Dragon King, so this thing must have some secrets that Xiao Yang didn't know. However, Xiao Yang was pleasantly surprised to find that every time the golden pattern was tempered by Dan Lei, it became more dignified. After being dignified, the strength of the golden demon puppet also slowly improved. Although I don't know where the limit of this golden demon puppet is, according to Xiao Yang's estimation, if it is fully absorbed, how can this golden demon puppet be comparable to a human 8-star Do Emperor level powerhouse? It looks like it's almost there. Xiao Yang looked at the golden demon puppet in the center of the thundercloud in the sky. A trace of burning smell came out, and then he didn't stand by. He gently took off the ancient ruler of eternal fire behind him, and slowly heading towards the depths of the thunderstorm. In this state, the clone is that the absorption has reached saturation this time. If it continues, I am afraid it will explode and die. Golden demon puppet, come back. Xiao Yang snorted softly, and immediately called the golden demon puppet out of the thundercloud. This incomparably vicious Dan Lei has already been absorbed by the golden demon puppet, but in order to ensure the perfect formation of the elixir, Xiao Yang naturally decided to give Di Xian Lei a fatal blow. Jin Yaropup heard the words, his figure suddenly moved, and fled outside the thundercloud. The golden lines on his body are looming, quite beautiful. It's just that when the golden demon puppet's figure exploded, a black Dan thunder with a size of hundreds of meters in the sky suddenly condensed and emerged from the thundercloud, and then silently crossed the sky and attacked the golden demon puppet. It's good to come. Heavenly imprisonment ruler. Xiao Yang laughed loudly, and the ancient ruler of Yihuaheng was shining brightly in the palm of his hand, and then he held the ancient ruler of Yihuaheng tightly with both hands. Suddenly hit the black lightning. Boom, boom, boom. The deafening voice slowly scattered from the sky, and then the dense thunderclouds, after all, did not resist Xiao Yang's powerful blow, and instantly dissipated in the sky, and the sky above the Funxiang pavilion recovered quickly. Clear skies. This is also normal. After all, although the Black Earth profound thunder is terrifying, nearly 9/10 of its power has been absorbed by the golden demon puppet, so how can it resist Xiao Yang's attack? In the late stage of the 7-star Do-D. Not bad. Xiao Yang glanced at the golden demon puppet with satisfaction, and then smiled. But just as the smile appeared, a faint crack appeared out of thin air in front of Xiao Yang. Where to run? Since you were created, then there is a reason for you to escape. Xiao Yang waved his hand and grabbed a grey elixir the size of a longan in his hand. The next moment, Xiao Yang returned to the training room directly with the golden demon puppet and the medicinal pill. Next was the crucial moment to resurrect his ancestor Xiao Xian. However, Xiao Yang naturally didn't know that the entire burning incense pavilion was boiling with his sudden scene. Am I dreaming? The figure just now seemed to be a bit like senior brother Xiao Yang from the human palace. Dan Lei of that level is actually like a balloon with no power in his hand. Senior brother Xiao Yang, in addition to his talent for fighting qi cultivation, is also very skilled in refining medicine, which really makes us ashamed. The disciples of the Funxiang pavilion couldn't help but said. It seems that the leader of the sect competition this time has fallen. At the same time, some senior officials of the burning incense pavilion looked at Xiao Yang, who disappeared into the sky, and smiled slowly, but now Xiao Yang is single-minded. Thinking of resurrecting his ancestor Xiao Xian, of course he didn't know what kind of agitation he had just caused. Next, it's time to refine the body. Xiao Yang returned to the quiet training room. The grey shape-shaped soul-returning pill was tightly held in his hand, and the body of the Ming sect that was used to accommodate Xiao Xian's soul, Xiao Yang murmured after the 3 bones of the God-giver and the blood of the 5-element beast. Originally, Xiao Yang was going to use Dong Xian's Dozian body, but after thinking about it, the strength of the ancestors in his lifetime was only the peak of Dozian. The strong still run in dissatisfaction. Moreover, even if he was using this 6-star Do-D Ming cult disciple's body now, if Xiao Yang didn't have such precious materials as the blood essence and limbs of the 5-element beast and the emperor's bones, Xiao Yang would not dare to fight like this. Resurrection requires a combination of body and soul power. Xiao Xian's strength during his lifetime reached the peak of Do Sheng, and it would not be difficult to break through Do-D after resurrection, but it would be extremely difficult to make a breakthrough in Do-D. As for Dong Xian's body, then leave it to his uncle, the Golden Dragon King. After all, the Golden Dragon King's strength is at least at the level of Dozian, and the body of the 1-star Dozian level even wronged him. Do it. Xiao Yang immediately started to do it. With a flip of his palm, the body of the Ming sect disciple was directly suspended in the air by Xiao Yang. As for the body of the fighting immortal powerhouse, it was clearly used by his uncle, the Golden Dragon King. However, Xiao Yang is also helpless. Although the stronger the body is, the future achievements will definitely not be low, but Xiao Xian's strength has reached the peak of the 9-star Do Sheng before his death, and he is also a step away from Do-D. However, relying on the elixir that nourishes the soul, plus the essence, blood, limbs and bone marrow of the 5 elements beasts, and the bones of the emperor, Xiao Yang has the confidence to let Xiao Xian break through Do Sheng and reach Do Emperor. However, I don't know if they can reach the level of a few-star Do-D. The strength of this Ming cult disciple is a 6-star Do-D, and the highest level cannot exceed this category. He summoned the corpse and immediately covered it with ice crystals. Obviously, Xiao Yang used some of Di Yang's flame properties in order to prevent the corpse from rotting, so as to keep the corpse intact. The next moment, Xiao Yang was able to refine his body with ease. After all, he had the experience of refining his body in the Do-Chi continent, so refining his body this time was extremely easy. In his mind, he kept recalling the precautions for refining the body, and then his mind sank, and a trace of Emperor Flame appeared directly in his hand, and then wrapped around the corpse. The colorful Di Yang had just touched the corpse wrapped in ice crystals, and the ice silk instantly melted away and then slowly disappeared. Although this guy is already dead, in order to prevent this from happening, we should first temper this guy's soul power. Xiao Yang said. After all, if this guy has a little bit of soul power left, it will affect the resurrected ancestors. Anyway, this guy's soul power is too strong for Xiao Yan. Boom. Just do what you say. The huge soul power controls Di Yang and directly invades the inside of the corpse, not only the soul power, but even the entire corpse. Cleaned up again. It seems that worrying is unnecessary. After some inspections, it was found that there was nothing serious, and Xiao Yang was relieved. Next, we have to add the bones of the emperor. The corner of Xiao Yang's mouth moved. Although the strength of this corpse had reached the 6-star Do Emperor before his death, for Xiao Yan's future achievements, Xiao Yang naturally tried to increase the tyrannical degree of his body. Out of sight. The skeleton of the emperor has just appeared, and suddenly there is a sense of vicissitudes in this space. This skeleton of the emperor was obtained by Xiao Yang from the ruins on the Yu family side just after he came to the Shenling continent. Boom boom boom. The emperor's bones were extremely strong, even Xiao Yang, an extremely powerful emperor, burned for half an hour. The emperor's bones, to put it bluntly, are some corpse bones with powerful strength. Such tempering is naturally ready to integrate into the body and increase the tyranny of the body. Give me in. Seeing that the tempering was almost there, Xiao Yang immediately shouted. Not long after, the 3 skeletons with milky white body were directly drank by Xiao Yang and submerged into the body. And the body became extremely strong after adding 3 bones. There are also the limbs of the 5-element beast. Xiao Yang glanced at it and found that the limbs of the 5-element beast were also rare treasures. At this point, the tyranny of this body is no less than that of some 8-star Do Emperor level powerhouses. But what should I do next? Seeing that the corpse was tempered and holding the shape-returning soul pill in his hand, Xiao Yang fell into a deep voice. After touching for a few minutes, a faint light slowly appeared between Xiao Yang's eyebrows. This ray of light was the last trace of the soul power of his ancestor Xiao Yan. The so-called last trace of soul power is actually the imprint of life. This kind of thing can only be seen by a strong person who has stepped into the Emperor realm with soul power, otherwise even a strong person who has set foot on the peak of the Do Emperor will not be able to detect it. Generally speaking, resurrection requires soul power, while blood essence and soul-shaping pills require soul power to swallow. After all, if you want to reoccupy a new body, you must pass the tempering of that body to truly master it. However, the current appearance of his ancestor Xiao Yan made Xiao Yang a little embarrassed. Because from a certain point of view, Xiao Yan, the most powerful man who used to dominate the Doqi continent, has already fallen. If it wasn't for the heavenly tomb, he would have been wiped out. And in the end, after Xiao Yan burned his soul power left in the heavenly tomb and let Xiao Yang step into the soul of the emperor, Xiao Yang was lucky enough to receive such a trace of life, just for today's resurrection. According to the time when the body was refined for venerable Skyfire before. Although the refining of the body and the medicinal pill was successful, the imprint of life must be swallowed by the medicinal pill, so as to smoothly enter the new body. Only then can it be truly resurrected. However, the ancestors look like this, only the last trace of life without any spirituality is left, and some only retain a trace of his life. How to swallow the medicinal pill? Xiao Yang held the shape with one hand. The soul-returning pill, with one hand holding Xiao Yan's life imprint. It doesn't matter, try it first and then talk about it. Looking at the dazzling corpse in the air, Xiao Yang also knew that if he missed the time, he would probably fail. After a while, Xiao Yang directly shook the blood of the 5-elements beast tightly, and then the shape-returning pill was directly submerged into Xiao Yan's life imprint. Once there was a change, he immediately poured the blood into his body. Crash! Just as the shape-returning pill poured into Xiao Yan's life imprint, a shock suddenly radiated from it. Feeling this sudden scene, Xiao Yang was surprised, but he didn't have time to think about it. I hope not to fail. After Xiao Yang finished speaking, he directly threw the imprint of life and the shape-returning pill onto the corpse, as if he wanted to revive the ancestor Xiao Yan with this. Boom boom boom. The restlessness only lasted for about a minute. Suddenly, Xiao Yan's life imprint directly spit out the shape-returning soul pill, and the light of the life imprint returned to calm. As for the shape-returning soul pill, it lay quietly. There was no damage on the corpse. Did you fail? Xiao Yang couldn't help but twitch at the corner of his mouth when he saw this scene. It seems that wanting to revive the ancestor Xiao Yan with this imprint of life is not as simple as Xiao Yang thought. Failed. Xiao Yang frowned immediately when he saw Xiao Yan's imprint of life and the intact shape-returning pill in the sky. Although the shape rejuvenation pill has the magical effect of reviving the soul, it requires the power of the soul or the remnant to devour it, and it can only work by relying on the mysterious medicinal power of the pill. However, the imprint of this ancestor Xiao Xian's life is only a trace of spirituality, and it is impossible to call it a remnant soul. In this case, there is obviously no way to devour the soul rejuvenating pill, and it is impossible to swallow the soul rejuvenating pill. Refining the medicinal pill, if it cannot be refined, it cannot be resurrected. This is a series of cause and effect. No, things have come to this point, we can't just let it go. Xiao Yan clenched his fists tightly. Even if there was only a glimmer of hope, he could not give up. If nothing else, Xiao Xian is still the ancestor of their Xiao clan, and this alone cannot give up halfway. Soul power. Xiao Yang snorted softly, and suddenly a soul power rushed towards the mark of life, trying to stimulate the spirituality of the mark of life. Xiao Yang's soul power was attached to the light of the imprint of life, and a few minutes passed without any movement. Damn! Xiao Yang scolded secretly, relying on his perception. Xiao Yang seemed to sense that this imprint of life was like a dead thing, without any breath. But this is clearly wrong, he just threw the shape-returning pill into it. If it wasn't for the ray of life imprint to spit out the shape-returning pill, Xiao Yang would also know that it was a dead object. Clan marks. Get up. At the next moment, Xiao Yang felt a hint of determination in his heart, and then a deep-colored ancient hidden pattern slowly adhered to the center of his forehead. Through the pattern, an indescribable wave of terror was slowly born. In the face of Xiao Yang's appearance, the imprint of life still did not move. The power of the clan mark, go! Xiao Yang controlled his mind and shot at the mark of life. Even on the Doqi continent, Xiao Xian preserved the last bloodline of the Xiao family and exchanged blood for himself. Xiao Yang was as ignorant of the use of clan marks as a baby. The power of the clan lines, with a hint of mystery, poured directly into the light of the imprint of life. In the next moment, there were a few faint movements in the always quiet imprint of life. Sure enough. Seeing this scene, Xiao Yang couldn't help but show joy on his face, and then he increased the power of the clan mark and walked away against the mark of life. No movement again. However, as Xiao Yang controlled the power in the clan lines against the imprint of life, except for the slight movement at the beginning, there was no movement at all. Strange thing. Xiao Yang couldn't help scratching his head and said something. Forget it, let's fight. The next moment, Xiao Yang gritted his teeth and said directly to the mark of life. Xiao Yang's fingertips directly exerted force, and then a drop of blood gushed out instantly. Xiao Yang's blood essence. For Xiao Yang, a drop of blood essence is a lot of load. If it wasn't for saving the ancestors, Xiao Yang would not be willing to take it out. After all, blood essence was condensed from the power in his own body, and it was extremely expensive. Go. Seeing this drop of dark red blood essence, Xiao Yang's breath was also a little sluggish, but at this time, he obviously didn't care about it, and went directly to the light of Xiao Xian's life imprint. As soon as the blood essence came to the ray of life imprint, the light of the imprint of life that had always been calm suddenly burst out, and then swallowed up Xiao Yang's essence and blood, and then returned to peace. It should be almost the end now. Seeing his blood essence being swallowed up by the light of the imprint of life, Xiao Yang clearly felt that the light of the imprint of life became more solid. After a few minutes passed, Xiao Yang spoke slowly. If that's the case, try it once. Xiao Yang made up his mind, and directly controlled the shape-returning soul pill to face the mark of life. But this time, the imprint of life remained motionless. No matter how the soul resurrection pill moved, it remained unmoved. The matter had reached this point, Xiao Yang couldn't help cursing. In the training room, Xiao Yang had created a soul barrier, so it was natural that the state inside could not be seen from the outside. At this time, the inside was deadly silent. Uncle Sha, don't look at it anymore, come out quickly. There was really no other way. Xiao Yang had to take off the Emperor Yang ring on his palm, and then said bitterly, "Hehe, you did a good job." The Golden Dragon King was actually watching Xiao Yang's actions while he was accepting the ring. Xiao Yang's refining of medicinal pills and his body was naturally taken in his eyes. Sure enough. Xiao Yang looked at the phantom that appeared from the ring, and immediately said with great joy, "This phantom is his uncle, the Golden Dragon King." It's just that the breath of the Golden Dragon King's body at this time made Xiao Yang feel as if he had fallen into a 10,000-year ice cave. "You kid, you are quite clever, how do you know that I am awake?" The Golden Dragon King just appeared and smiled at Xiao Yang. For Xiao Yang, even as the king of the Dragon Clan, he had to admire him. "I have vaguely guessed it since I entered the ruins of the Bright Moon, but I have never been able to confirm it. The appearance of Kanglonglu later made me sure." Xiao Yang said with a grin, "I don't know the teacher, how's your uncle's recovery?" Xiao Yang asked in a deep voice. A third of the recovery, the Golden Dragon King said. The source of life is indeed rare, but it is obviously impossible to rely on that thing to restore the peak. 1/3. Xiao Yang nodded thoughtfully, and then said. Don't underestimate my third of my strength. A mere 1/3 of my power is like the ants of the Xianling King of the Xianling royal family. I can jump to death with a fart. The Golden Dragon King looked at Xiao Yang thoughtfully, and immediately said, the arrogance in it is not concealed at all. A fart can kill him. Xiao Yang was dumbfounded by the sudden words of the Golden Dragon King. However, it is also true that an existence like the Golden Dragon King must be ranked among the peaks of this great thousand world. Although King Xianling said that his current strength has reached the battle of immortals, in the eyes of the Golden Dragon King, he is still no different from the ants. Uncle Master, the corpse of the mother of the body tree of immortal spirits and a strong immortal warrior has been prepared for you. It should be able to refine your body. Looking at the amiable old man in front of him, Xiao Yang suddenly looked at him. When he arrived at Yarrow Laro's shadow, his nose immediately became sour, and an inexplicable emotion poured into his heart. Yes, but for now, let's revive your ancestor first. Xiao Yang glanced at Xiao Yang, but a fiery liquid was secreted from the huge dragon's eye, which was obviously also caught by Xiao Yang. This kid was moved. Let's revive your ancestor first. The Golden Dragon King was extremely comforted in his heart. It seems that the disciple that the old guy liked by Emperor Tuorsha Jiyu was really out of blue. Yes. Xiao Yang nodded secretly when he heard the words. The most urgent task now is to resurrect Xiao Shen's ancestors first. I have seen the situation of your resurrection of this ancestor in Naji. Tell me about his situation. Although the Golden Dragon King already has a solution in his heart, he still needs to cure the disease, he said. Uncle, my ancestor is named Xiao Shen, and he is the patriarch of the Xiao clan whose bloodline was interrupted by the Do Emperor of the Xiao clan on our Doqi continent. The ancestors were gifted with extraordinary talents. On our Doqi continent, which lacked origin Qi, the powerhouses who successfully cultivated to the pinnacle of the 9-star Doshing with their own efforts were only one step away from the Do Emperor powerhouses. However, due to the fall of Emperor Do's bloodline, the strength of the clansmen has weakened, resulting in the fact that the Xiao clan status has declined day by day. Therefore, with the encouragement of the clansmen, the ancestors decided to gather the power of the bloodline of the clansmen to attack Emperor Do. At that time, nearly 3/4 of the strong Xiao clan gathered, but when we broke through, we were attacked by the Soul clan, which caused our Xiao clan to drop directly into a small force in the ancient 8 clans of Doqi continent. But at that time, even if it gathered the power of almost most of the bloodline of the clansmen and lacked origin Qi, it was a failure after all, and then the ancestors advanced to the pseudo-Dudi level in a short period of time, repelling the Soul clan, thus saving some bloodlines, and the ancestors also fell after that war, and a trace of soul power remains in the tomb of heaven. Then the ancestors gave me a lot of help, and even the soul power after the final spontaneous combustion helped me break through the soul of the emperor. As for the imprint of life in front of me, it was after the ancestors spontaneously ignited the soul, and I broke through the soul of the emperor. Xiao Yang recalled, but every time I talk about this, my heart is very uncomfortable. I see. This imprint of life is the product of the spontaneous combustion of soul power. No wonder I said it would be familiar. After the Golden Dragon King heard it, even if Xiao Yang said it lightly, he still admired Xiao Shen slightly. Don't say anything else. In the Doqi continent, I heard Tuoshi said before that lack of origin Qi, it is impossible to have Do Di strong, and this Xiao Shen actually cultivated to the peak of the 9-star Do saint with his own perseverance, which is enough to see his strength. Gifted. Master, since you have seen the situation just now, how should you solve it? Xiao Yang said with some worry. The imprint of life, this is the power of life left by a little chance after the strong man spontaneously ignited the power of his soul. This thing, to put it bluntly, is the weakest chance of resurrection. If your ancestor still has soul power, it is very easy to handle with the medicine pill in your hand. The Golden Dragon King said with a little thought. Isn't it okay? Xiao Yang couldn't help clenching his fists when he heard the words. However, in such a situation, it's not impossible. Seeing Xiao Yang's sudden emotion, the Golden Dragon King smiled slowly and comforted. What can I do? Xiao Yang was overjoyed when he heard the words, and immediately asked out loud. The strength of your body is too great. If this imprint of life is rashly incorporated, the probability of failure is extremely high, and the imprint of your ancestor's life is also extremely weak and must be strengthened. The mother of the fairy body tree, Is it in your hands? As soon as the king of the golden dragon finished speaking, he looked at Xiao Yang's surprised expression and said, "Well, that thing is necessary to restore your uncle's peak power." Xiao Yang agreed softly, unable to figure out why the Golden Dragon King would mention this at this juncture. "Take it out," the Golden Dragon King said after confirming it. When Xiao Yang heard the words, he did not hesitate, and directly took out the mother of the fairy body tree. As soon as the mother of the fairy body tree was taken out, the surrounding space suddenly solidified, which was very strange. It really is the mother of the fairy body tree. The Golden Dragon King stared at the plant covered in a circle of green leaves, and said with joy, "Uncle Shi, this." Xiao Yang wondered. This mother of the fairy body tree is to restore the peak power of the Golden Dragon King, and it is only useful to the soul body. Her ancestors have long been the imprint of life, and this thing seems to be useless to her. "Don't worry, I have my own discretion." The Golden Dragon King seemed to see Xiao Yang's doubts and reminded him aloud. "Then, the next thing about the imprint of life will be handed over to the uncle." Xiao Yang also said in response, "I will strengthen this imprint of life and awaken the spirituality in it. As for other successes, I'm afraid you still need to rely on yourself. After all, I don't have the ability to refine the body for others," said the Golden Dragon King. "Okay." Xiao Yang simply agreed, and with the help of his uncle, Xiao Yang felt relieved. Catcher. After a while, the Golden Dragon King looked at the mother of the fairy body tree, and then in the phantom, his left hand turned into a huge golden dragon claw, and then under Xiao Yang's stunned expression, he directly confronted him. "Go with the mother claw of the fairy body tree." Bang bang bang. A slight noise emerged, and then there was such a small piece of green leaves that surrounded the mother of the fairy body tree, which was directly taken down by the Golden Dragon King. What sharp claws! Xiao Yang's eyesight is quite extraordinary, and he naturally sensed the terrifying power contained in the golden dragon claws of the Golden Dragon King. Xiao Yang knew exactly how strong the mother of the body tree of immortals was. Now Xiao Yang, even if he used all his strength and the strength of the holy flame, he couldn't shake it, and the Golden Dragon King was so easily like a leaf. It can be seen that the power of this Golden Dragon King is extremely terrifying, and that kind of strength, according to Xiao Yang's estimation, I am afraid that he can kill him in an instant. It's really good stuff. Just a leaf on the periphery makes my soul strength faintly increase. The Golden Dragon King looked at the green leaf in his hand, and then stopped talking. The next moment a golden liquid suddenly flowed out from the center of the Golden Dragon King's eyebrows, and just as the golden liquid flowed out, it immediately wrapped the green leaves and whizzed away towards Xiao Xian's imprint of life. And with the mysterious golden liquid of the Golden Dragon King and a leaf of the mother of the fairy body tree, the imprint of life that had always been quiet, actually increased rapidly. That feeling is like an empty container being quickly filled, and the spirituality of the life imprint is slowly awakened, and even the power is rapidly increasing. "Next, I'll leave it to you." The Golden Dragon King did all this very casually, and then stepped aside. The seal of Xiao Xian's life, the Golden Dragon King has used his own means to maximize his release of spirituality. Success or failure can only be determined by Xiao Yang. Okay. Xiao Yang was naturally overjoyed when he heard this. Through the handwriting of his uncle, the Golden Dragon King, the imprint of life actually faintly showed a trace of spirituality. "Shape the soul-returning pill, give it to me," Xiao Yang shouted loudly, and then the pill that had been entrenched outside the mark of life suddenly strung into it. "People of the Xiao clan." When the medicinal pill entered Xiao Xian's life imprint, the imprint of life suddenly emitted a very faint sound. This voice is the voice of his ancestor Xiao Xian. Regarding Xiao Xian, I have read the original book carefully recently, and there is an extra story about Xiao Xian and the Emperor Soul, so I will tell you a little bit here. "Ancestor, don't be impatient, now is a great opportunity to revive you," Xiao Yang said with a hint of relief in his heart upon hearing this extremely familiar voice. This voice is exactly the same as what I heard on the Dochi continent. "You kid, you have a heart." In fact, the last trace of Xiao Xian's spirituality remains in the life imprint, and that spirituality has reached the point where it can almost be said to be destroyed, but the Golden Dragon King relies on the mother of the fairy body tree. The incomparably powerful effect of nourishing the soul and the unique power of the Dragon King can barely release this trace of wisdom. Otherwise, if there is no Golden Dragon King, I am afraid that Xiao Yang wants to revive Xiao Xian. Just now, it seemed that the Golden Dragon King made an understatement, but only the Golden Dragon King knew the difficulties. "Yeah." There was a slight voice in the imprint of life. Through the technique of the Golden Dragon King just now, and with Xiao Yang's soul rejuvenation pill, Xiao Xian's imprint of life was full of vitality at this time, which was a good time for resurrection. Ancestor Xiao Xian, give you a trace of soul power. The next moment, Xiao Yang directly wrapped the refined body in Emperor Yang again and said, "Go." Imprint of life heard the words, a very faint light scattered slightly, and went towards Xiao Yang's palm. "Give me in." Xiao Yang had just touched this trace of soul power in his hands, but without even looking at it, he directly wrapped Xiao Xian's soul power with Emperor Yang and walked away towards his body. This step is essential. After all the soul power in this new body has been erased by Xiao Yang. If you want to be resurrected, you will undoubtedly need soul power to nourish the body, so that the body is familiar with Xiao Xian's soul power. There will be no exclusion. Boom boom boom. Just as Xiao Xian's soul power entered it, a loud bang suddenly emerged. "Give me silence." Seeing this, Xiao Yang couldn't help but a terrifying wave was born directly, suppressing the restlessness. In a short while, the body was full of fire, and at the same time, Xiao Xian's soul power had already occupied the body. The ancestors have already swallowed the shape-returning pill, and now there is a shortage of blood essence. Xiao Yang nodded slightly, taking every step with extreme care, for fear that something might go wrong. Seeing that everything was ready, Xiao Yang quickly took out the blood essence of the 5 elements beast from the collection ring. An extremely exquisite jade bottle appeared, and in the jade bottle, a stream of colorful blood was quietly waiting in it. And through this jade bottle, you can also feel an extremely violent power from it. Xiao Yang's technique was extremely fast, directly projecting the jade bottle onto his body, and then relying on Di Yang, the blood essence burst open instantly and sprinkled on the body without a drop. As soon as the blood essence was stained on the body suddenly twitched, as if the power in the blood was too powerful, but fortunately, with Xiao Yang neutralizing it, there was no major disturbance. However, the flesh and blood on the body was rapidly eroding. After a while, through the blood essence of the 5-element beast, it has been transformed into a body of white bones, and the blood is growing wildly. The reason for doing this step is to change the limit of the body, and another is to change the appearance, otherwise it will be a troublesome thing when people of Mingjiao find out. After touching it for about an hour, the body became softer, and even the skin became rosy. "Ancestor, come in." At the next moment, the pupils of that body suddenly opened, and Xiao Yang suddenly said in a deep voice. Hearing the words, Xiao Xian's life imprint was suddenly strung into his body, and at the same time, a stream of extremely dazzling emperor flames also burned his body. And as Xiao Xian's imprint of life poured into his body, a mysterious wave immediately radiated from the imprint of life, and slowly spread out to the limbs and bones of the body. Energy. And when Xiao Yang saw this, he didn't talk nonsense either. With a flick of his finger, 5 drops of blood essence suddenly poured out from his fingertips and went towards his body. Although there is the blood essence of the 5 elements beasts, the taste of the Xiao clan is missing after all, but 5 drops of blood essence have just appeared, and Xiao Yang feels a strong sense of weakness in his body. Obviously, the 5 drops of blood essence are a burden to Xiao Yang. Extremely large. This kid is indeed a person who values love and righteousness. The Golden Dragon King on the side did not stop Xiao Yang, but admired Xiao Yang's audacity. And the 5 drops of dark red blood essence just came to the body, an extremely tyrannical force of repulsion directly repelled it, and then quickly fed back to Xiao Yang. This. Ancestor, you. Xiao Yang couldn't help but be moved when he saw this sudden scene. These 5 drops of blood essence were condensed by Xiao Yang for Xiao Xian's ancestor, but after Xiao Yang's imprint of life was integrated into his body, he directly sent the 5 drops of blood essence back to Xiao Yang. Xiao Xian knows a lot about blood essence. These 5 drops of blood essence can be said to be a huge drain on Xiao Yang, and Xiao Yang is the hope of their Xiao clan. Affect the foundation. However, it can be seen that Xiao Yang's determination to resurrect his ancestor Xiao Xian ancestor, hold on. In this last step, success or failure is up to you. Xiao Yang looked at the imprint of life into his body, but he couldn't help but worry. Successful? The Golden Dragon King said slowly, looking at the figure whose strength was gradually awakening in his body. Not yet. Now that all the work has been done, the next thing is to wait. Only the ancestors who have withstood the tempering of Emperor Yang and gradually gained control of this body can be called a success. Xiao Yang said with a solemn expression. The next step is the most important and crucial step. If you can't resist the tempering of Emperor Yang, I am afraid that this last trace of life will be completely reduced to ashes. Boom. The raging fire continued to burn in the body, and there was an extremely fierce dispute in the body. A day passed in a blink of an eye. During this day, Xiao Yang stared at the body, for fear that something might go wrong, But fortunately, the restlessness of the body, from the very intense at the beginning, to the quiet now, and Xiao Yang could feel a familiar aura. It is slowly being born in this body. Where is this? A very familiar voice slowly came from the awakened Xiao Shen's mouth. Finally successful. Hearing this familiar voice, the big stone in Xiao Yang's heart finally fell, and a smile radiated from the figure in front of him. This video will end here.